In this tutorial, I'm going to show you two really simple but wildly impactful ways for you to create variations in your shuffle dance T-step. So we're just going to dive right in. The first one that a lot of people may be doing unconsciously but are not actually thinking about and getting creative with is changing your foot position. Now, we all know that when we're T-stepping, we can tap anywhere on the floor, right? We can tap behind us in all varying degrees, beside us in all varying degrees, in front of us, crossing over, etc. But what most people aren't thinking about, especially if you're newer to shuffle dance, is the different ways your foot position actually affects that T-step. So for example, we're going to talk about three main ways. The first one is a heel, all right? So heel is down, the foot is nice and flexed. Obviously, there are going to be some limitations with this, meaning if you're tapping to the back, you can't really tap on the heel, so it'll be more reserved for kind of this like open and then anywhere to the front as your tapping point. But the heel is a really great way to show power in your T-step without having to push down harder or pull up with more energy. So the heel is the first one of my favorites. I'll show you some examples a little bit later. The second one is using your toe. So using the same kind of principle, we're going to be tapping our toe out, and we really want to make sure that this is intentional. So notice that my toe is pointed down. The ankle is actually pointing down, which is not only creating cleanliness at the foot, but it's also making sure that my entire leg is activated. I can feel my glute turned on, my quad, and everything all the way down. That way, again, it has more power. Now, unlike the heel, right, the toe has a bit of a softer look. So immediately when you start interchanging between the two of these, you can create a lot of cool contrast and dynamic in your T-step. The third one is a flat foot. In my opinion, this is so underused nowadays. When we watch videos of Melbourne shufflers from way back in the 90s when raving started, when shuffling started in the raves, I should say, they were using the flat foot in the form of a T, right? It has over time evolved from that, but it's so awesome to pull back to those roots and be able, whether that tapping foot, again, going back to tapping points on the ground, whether the flat foot is in front of your T or behind your T, right? So whether it's the stick of the T or the actual like top of the T, if we're thinking of a capital T, you can play around. Now, you're not just limited to those two tapping points. Obviously, you can put a flat foot here, you can put a flat foot beside you, you can put a flat foot crossing over, but it's a really, really underused variation, and it's one that looks so cool and that I personally love. So when you're actively thinking about changing this in your T-step, you now have a wide array of variations on top of the fact that you can tap anywhere. Now you can use all different foot positions as well. I'm going to give you an example of what it would look like if I didn't change my tapping placement at all, meaning I'm going to tap right here, kind of on this like slightly sideways diagonal forward position, but I'm going to show you all three of the foot positions, and you're going to see that it actually has a lot of flair. It looks really cool, and it's going to be a great reminder that sometimes just changing your foot position is enough to create a variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you heel, toe, flat, transfer, other side heel, toe, flat, transfer, okay? Doing this a little faster, I'll show you from the back and then I'll show you from the front. Actually, I was gonna give you homework, but I'm gonna give you homework in a second. So here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8, go heel and toe and flat and transfer, other side heel and toe and flat and transfer and. Doing it at full speed, 5, 6, 7, 8, go heel, toe, flat, transfer, heel, toe, flat, transfer, heel, toe, flat, transfer, heel, toe, flat, transfer. It's actually a little bit of like a mind game. really gets your brain involved, and it makes you really think about what you're doing next. So great for mind muscle connection as well. The homework I was going to give you, that is just one of many different sequences that you can do with those 3 tapping positions or foot positions. So my recommendation for you is play around, and you can even, if you want to get nerdy with it, write down all the variations. You can go heel, heel, toe. You can go flat, heel, toe. You can go toe, heel, toe, right? So many different things. The variations are literally endless. You'll be here forever. But it's super fun, gets your brain thinking, and make sure you practice on both sides. Okay, so now the second way you can change up your T-step, obviously that was a lot of things loaded into the first way. The second way is taking similar to what we just did, but now we're gonna change the tempo. So where you tap, meaning where on the floor, how you tap, meaning heel, flat, toe, or any other cool variation you can think of. Those are now going to be at the base foundation, and now we're gonna change our tempo. So typically when we are shuffling, we are dancing at what we call double tempo. That means in a standard T-step, we're gonna tap out on the 1, the whole count, or the beat, right? We're hearing boom, 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 boom. We're tapping out on that position. When we pull back into our perch, it happens on the and count, on the half count, often represented by the hi-hat, okay? So we are hearing boom, ch, boom, ch, boom, ch, and so on and so forth. If I were to do that with counts, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. So what we can now do is bring this down to half tempo, or sometimes referred to as normal tempo. Those two are even a little bit different. I'm not going to get into the nuances of them today because, again, that's a whole other video. But we're going to break it down to where we are only moving on the whole counts, the numbers, the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 8. Okay? If you have a more musical brain, we're only going to move every time that bass or that boom hits down. So before, when we were going on boom and coming up on shh, we're actually going to slow everything down by 50%, and we're only going to move on the numbers. This is what it's going to look like to make it all make sense. So if I was to count us in 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, I'm not going to pull up on and, I'm going to pull up on 2. Now I'm going to drop down again, 3, pull up 4, drop down 5, pull up 6, okay? You might be saying, that looks exactly the same. What's the difference? Watch when I go through the full counts, how much slower everything is. I'm going to show you just at half speed right now, okay? Then I'm going to demonstrate what it would look like to intermix the two. So you can literally see switching from double tempo, moving at full speed, and then going to half tempo. And you'll notice a difference. Here we go. 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and. You can see it's much slower than when I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm moving on every single beat and half beat versus moving only on the numbers, okay? So what this would look like paired together. Now, sometimes if you're trying to go from full tempo to half tempo, it can kind of feel like patting your head and rubbing your stomach a little bit. If you're a newer shuffler and you're just trying to work on getting the beat down and being able to shuffle on beat, my recommendation is practice these separately first, okay? If you are a more intermediate or advanced shuffler, or it's not difficult for you to match on the beat right now, that's already 100% under control, then you can try this variation where you are going to be switching in the middle. So what I'm gonna do is, we have a full 8 count, right? If we were to make this into a sequence or a combo, I'm gonna do 4 full speed T-steps for my 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in. And then for my latter half of that sequence, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and, I'm gonna go down to half tempo, and I'm only going to move on the whole counts on the numbers. It's gonna look like this. 5, 6, 7, 8, full tempo, 2 and 3 and 4, half tempo, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna do it on the other side. 5, 6, 7, 8. Go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, half tempo, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you can see how it creates a lot of contrast in your flow. And this is a great tool, especially if the music feels a little bit too fast. You can dance at half tempo anyways, but it's such a great way to add a little bit of flair into your T-step without doing anything except change your timing. All right, so now you have tons to work on. 2 quite detailed ways that you can have variations of your T-step, a move that we all know and hopefully love. And that is going to be a great way for you to add variety into your freestyle, add contrast, add tempo changes, placement changes, all of that good stuff. If you want to learn more about this and you want a step-by-step manual on how to include all of these elements, plus be able to master all of your shuffle dance and cutting shapes fundamentals in 90 days, that means explosivity, transitions, smooth flow, fluidity, all of that good stuff. My Footwork Blueprint course goes into this in really, really great detail. You get full lifetime access to the whole online course that you can do anytime, anywhere, at your own pace. You also get 60 days inside of our private community where you are gonna get one-to-one coaching from me through feedback videos, weekly coaching calls you get on. We literally shuffle together. I make corrections on the spot and help you become a more creative dancer. And it is also very, very mindset focused. So we focus on all of the mindset and intention setting and thoughts and reflections that help you become a more powerful, confident, and unique shuffle dancer. This course is for people who are either completely brand new to shuffling. You don't have to know anything. You can have 2 left feet and still be able to achieve that. Or if you're a more seasoned dancer, you've been shuffling for a while, but something feels like it's missing. Oftentimes going back to basics is exactly what you need to hit that next level and get to your next shuffle level up. So if you want more information, I'm gonna drop everything in the show notes, in the caption here. Make sure that you subscribe to Shuffle Shred for more tips on how to be a confident, powerful, and unique shuffler. As I said before, let me know if there's anything in specific that you want to learn. Drop it in the comments here. I make different pieces of content every single week to keep you educated and updated, and I will see you in the next video.